Alright guys, we're sitting at day two. Day two has been interesting. Now I'll tell you one change that I made. I mentioned yesterday, right? Day one, I was running high. You saw the numbers. 253. It was a little bit rough. I noticed that in between meals, I would start cruising upwards again. I knew my basal wasn't strong enough, so I added 1 unit. And of course I have permission from my doctors to do this. They know what I'm doing. They know that I know what I'm doing. I added 1 unit of Lantus total, and it made a huge difference. Massive difference. I woke up, instead of at 170, I woke up at 140, and by the time I had breakfast it was about 134. Like, sweet, that's a much better start to breakfast. You know what, I'm just going to show you guys. I'm going to open up my Dexcom app and show you. You saw yesterday's video, most likely. If you haven't, go look at day 1 for MDI. But today's graph looks wildly different. And I'll show you guys. Actually, I'm going to show you my current blood sugars. I just had a couple tablets because I was going a little bit low. I dipped into the 70s, but that's what I'm at currently. See if you can see that. Get that to focus. 118. You can see the kind of the drop, the rise, the drop, the rise. And it's still not perfect, right? Still working out the kinks. But check out this 24-hour graph. Oh, baby, look at that. Woo hoo hoo hoo. That's incredible. So you can see here, this was last night. At 9:40, I was 201. Reason being, got a little nervous because I was dropping before dinner, and I ate a little bit too fast. So hit 201 and brought it back down. By the time midnight hit, I was coming back down, but I had to give a half unit correction overall. And let me think. Through the day. Today I also introduced my cardio and strength training. I tested my cardio. Now in my programs I coach on the activity impact ratio, how to figure out exactly what each exercise does to your blood sugars so you can better prepare for it, right? So you can actually get to a place where you can predict your blood sugars. So when I was in my consistency, right, my regimen, I was able to literally predict the number that my blood sugars would end up at after a workout. Can you imagine that? It's incredible. And I would always aim for about 100 to 120 in that little range. It was perfect. I loved it. But now I'm kind of having to reset, right? Relearn how my blood sugar is impacted on Lantus, right? On MDI. Having a little bit less control, a little bit less of an option to make adjustments. Middle of the workout, beginning of the workout, end of the workout. There's no temporary basals. So I have to shift my strategies just a little bit. But you can see here, that's 1 right there. I started my workout at 168 and I ended my workout at 142. Not bad. Now, of course, not perfect, not where I want to be, right? But overall, that's not bad for second day of MDI. I'm very, very happy with that. Now, of course, as you saw, I dipped a little bit low into the 70s and less than ideal, but I noticed a pattern, right? That's what this guy's for. The Trending Health Journal. Again, you want to get your hands on this. This is one of the best tools that I can offer you. TrendingHealthJournal.com. Because of that, I recognized a pattern. Day 2, right? At 4 o'clock, both days, I went just a little bit low into the 70s. I had to have 2 tablets. Interesting. Very interesting. Gonna have to keep an eye on that one tomorrow. Now, of course, I'm gonna make adjustments each day based on my basal and bolus needs. I've also adjusted my bolus ratios, and that's been interesting. Breakfast went perfect. Lunch went almost perfect. 4 o'clock was the 2-hour marker, which is where my bolus would have finished most of its work on me, right? And that's where I happened to go into the 70s. So I'm gonna keep an eye on that, watch out for that, see if I need to make a change there. I've got dinner coming up, so we'll see how that goes overall, but very happy with day 2. I want to point out that I made a single unit change in my Lantus, and it made a world of a difference. So this is to let you know that you should not be making big changes, especially when delivering a 24-hour dose of long-acting insulin, because that's in your system for the next 24 hours. Sometimes more, depending on which long-acting insulin you use. So keep in mind, if you are given the power from your doctors to make changes on your own to your insulin therapy, your basal needs, your bolus needs, make those changes small and incremental, okay? Do not make big changes. That's going to lead to some disastrous situations. So I changed it by 1 unit. That's it. What do you know it? It came out pretty nicely. So as far as tomorrow goes, I'm going to see how the rest of my night goes. I'm going to see if it runs smoothly. If it does not, I might have to make a small shift. For example, if I go low tonight, then I know that my basal might be a little bit too strong. Might. I say might because that's not a full test, right? A single day, that's not a testing phase. Testing phases comes in days of 3. So if I wanted to properly test it, I would take the same insulin for 3 days in a row, see if it's a consistent trend and pattern, and then I could make the adjustment. However, if I go low during the night, I want to make changes a little bit earlier because going low at night can be dangerous. So considering dialing back my Lantus, maybe taking a correction shot the second I wake up, right? There's different strategies that we can use, and so I'm going to have a look at that and see how that plays out for me. Now I want to mention a few quick little things that in the first 2 days I noticed that were just kind of funny and interesting to me. One being that this guy, my pump, see this tubing right here? I've gotten so used to this tubing that even still, like literally just now, before I came and recorded this, whenever I go to the bathroom, whenever I go to do anything, change my clothes, I reach for the tubing to make sure it doesn't get snagged on something. In other words, I grab for the tubing and I would usually, my old strategy, right, was to clip my pump on my necklace. And that's how I would change my clothes, that's how I would go to the bathroom. Before taking a shower, I would always take my pump off, right, and I put the little cap on. So it's been really interesting seeing how these habits have been built up where I'll still reach for it as if it's there, and it's not. And I kind of smile because I feel free, but I also, it's like a muscle memory thing. It's been very interesting. But I also want to let you guys know, I've got this little booklet here for kind of the emotional side, I guess you could say, of this change, right? The trending journal for the facts. That's my logbook. But this, I put some interesting things in there, like, for example, the fact that I'm still reaching for my pump when it's not even there. I'm not going to show you my exact ratios, but you can see on that page, I've got my pump settings. I wrote down every single one of the basal settings, the bolus settings, the target range, the correction factor, my insulin to carb ratio, the time range for each of them. I'm very detailed. When I test things, when I experiment, it is to a T. I literally control every single factor that I can. And this is so I can have accurate results. So I wrote down my pump settings, A, so that I can keep an eye on them and see what may change while I'm on MDI, but B, so that when I do, if I do, right, go back to the pump, I know exactly what my settings were, so I can jump right back in and have that be a seamless transition. Now on this page, I have my theories. The theories that I'm testing. I know a lot of you are eager to get your hands on this because I have theories that may impact different therapy decisions based on, are you a pump user versus are you an MDI user? And some of those are going to be tested through exercise. Some are tested through leisure. Some are tested through sleep. I have a lot of different tests that I want to run on myself to test theories that I have on pump versus MDI. So I'm very curious. Testing phase began today, actually, for one of my testing, or for one of my exercise routine tests. So it's very interesting. Results are not clear yet because it's day 1. I need to test for multiple days to find the trends and patterns, see if it's accurate, right? But oh man, so far my theories have proved correct. I'm very excited about that. Last thing, I wanted to bring some new thoughts to light. I wrote these down. The first thing I did when I took my pump off and became an official MDI user is that I went up to my wife and I said, I want you to hug me and I want you to rub all the spots that used to have insulin pump sites on them, because they were like the danger zones, right? I don't want my pump site to get ripped out. So it was always like, if you hug me, here's where my sites are. Don't touch those areas. Now I'm like, go for it. Just don't touch the Dexcom, right? I have the one site that you can't touch, but it's no longer 2 sites. And that was so, it was heartwarming to be able to not worry about having my pump site get ripped out while receiving a hug. Like, it's such a basic thing. And we overlook that. You just accept it as part of your life when you're on the pump, but that freedom was so nice. And I can't even explain how it felt, but it's like borderline emotional right? Where you can experience life in a different manner, ever so slightly. And it's a little difference, but it's a big deal. Showering. Whew, we talk about naked showers, right? Us as type 1 diabetics wearing devices. You have the naked shower when you have 0 devices on you. Now, it's still not a naked shower, so I have my Dexcom on, but it's an almost naked shower, which means I get to soap up, I get to dry off. That one's a big one. Rubbing the towel across my body, not having to worry about, again, ripping a pump site out. That has been just an incredible feeling, not having to worry about that. So, those are the big ones, really. Going to the bathroom, I don't have to worry about the pump, right? It's clipped onto my waist. I don't have to worry about taking it off and clipping it onto my necklace. I just go to the bathroom, or I just go take a shower. I don't have to worry about unhooking or untethering, all this kind of stuff. So that has been a big deal. I got a whole page, but I'm gonna close that up for now. And just kind of bring this video to a close, but this is day 2. I have relatively consistent blood sugars, relatively good control. You saw it was mostly in range, mostly flat. I'm gonna guess and say my in range time was probably around 98%, which I'm very happy with. I went low about an hour ago. Well, low. Actually, technically, that's still in range, because in range is 70 to 180. I never went below 70, so I think I have 100% in range today, guys. That's really cool. The reason I almost didn't catch that is because I hold myself to a higher standard. I count my in-range values as 80 to 170. I kind of take 10 off of both sides because I prefer tighter control. But yeah, I think so far today I have 100% in range, which is nuts considering it's day 2 of MDI. But I'm very curious to see how this test goes. Please drop any questions you have below. I want to know what you want answered. If you're like, Matt, I've been MDI my whole life and I've never figured out this. Can you test for that? Can you experiment on yourself? It's fine to ask me this because I want to run these experiments while I'm MDI. Because there's a good chance I'm going back to the pump. I'm doing this as an experimental phase. I don't know how long this phase is going to last, but I intend to test a lot of theories. So let me know if you have questions below. I'm doing this to help my clients that are current clients, but also future clients who come in saying, Matt, I'm MDI, you're on a pump. Is this even gonna work for me? And I'll be like, yes, it does. I went on MDI and tested it out myself. See how it works? It's super cool. So drop your comments below. Let me know what you want to know through this process, and I'll keep making these videos. Hope you guys are enjoying this, and as always, keep up the fight.